So before we get to the movie, I have a little bit of movie-related local news to talk with you about.
Oh.
One of the things we like to do is we like to go to our local bar, Lola's, and have a drink every once in a while.
We do.
Lola's is this really cool place. It's a cocktail lounge. They've got art on the walls. They've got records everywhere. It's a lot of fun. And every time you go in, you're greeted by a cardboard cutout of Marilyn Monroe. Until recently. Somebody stole Marilyn from the entryway of Lola's.
Then they have it on tape.
It's two middle-aged women.
Did you hear the update, though?
No, I was hoping you'd have one.
A third unrelated old woman returned it.
Oh, really?
Which is also on tape, yes.
I'm glad they got it back. That's such good news.
They did the right thing.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, some 60-year-old woman going wild.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. None of you know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it on the old leather couch and then talk about it. Welcome to the basement. Dylan, I hope you'll enjoy today's top secret movie. On our last episode, me and my co-host celebrated Valentine's Day and watched a romantic movie, and it was a bit disappointing. So I thought today I would try again.
Another romance?
Of sorts.
Okay.
Love and romance and sensual pleasures are what your life is all about when you are the love god.
Oh, it's a Don Knotts classic?
That's right.
We like that guy. First of all, it's the love god ?
Right. The love god?
So many women, not enough man.
Released in 1969, TLG stars Don Knotts, Anne Francis, and Edmund O'Brien. It was written and directed by Nat Hiken, who died before the film was released. Killed by Don Knotts. Film critic Judith Crist did not mince words about The Love God, calling it a smutty, pseudo-satire on pornography, civil liberties, and bird-watching. It would be rated as sub-Z by anyone with a knowledge of the alphabet, let alone an iota of taste. She didn't like it.
Not someone familiar with the traditional grading system either.
Yeah, you can't go sub-Z. Have you ever seen a Don Knotts film?
I think we watched one. Wasn't he in Hercules?
No, that was Arnold Stang.
Okay.
He's a Don Knotts type.
But we got the original, prototypical, the Plato cave Don Knotts.
The incredible Mr. Limpet, the shakiest gun in the West, Mr. Chicken himself. To celebrate this comedy we're about to watch, I thought I'd get you a gift that is a comedy staple.
A slide whistle! I've always wanted one of these. You're going to totally regret giving me this.
There you go. So come through that beaded curtain and walk across the deep pile shag carpet over to the old leather couch as we take in a bit of the swinging 60s with The Love God.
No question mark.
Oh, wait for it.
The Love God?
Osborne Tremaine is once again in front of the judge.
This was back in court. You did it 1 inch away from the judge. He loves to put out girly magazines with his cool wife.
Let's see, nude and naughty subscription. Done. He's been here plenty of times before and he always gets a slap on the wrist, but this time is different.
The Postmaster General has been enjoined to permanently revoke your fourth-class mailing privilege.
So he can't ship his magazines anymore. This is basically going to ruin him. He and his wife decide to stop in the small town of Peacock City to get a bite to eat. There's a fundraiser going on for the Peacock Magazine, which is a birdwatching magazine published by Abner Peacock.
His grandfather ran it, his father ran it, but he's run it into the ground. He is a renowned bird caller, and he shows off his skills.
Greeting his guests is the robin redbreast. From the foliage lush comes the song of the thrush.
Get to the orgies.
He's one of the, okay.
The people of the town are generous.
They raise $462.
And 63 cents.
Cha-ching. But he needs
$47,000.
to save the magazine.
I pledge $47,000.
It's Osborne Tremaine himself. He pledges to foot the entire bill, even though he is secretly broke. What is his intention here? The next day, Osborne doesn't show up. The office is sold, and they're going to demolish it and gut it. Rose Ellen is Abner's best gal. She's the daughter of Reverend Wilkerson. Osborne comes running in. Am I too late? Yes, you are. Doesn't matter. You know what? We don't need this publishing office because you can publish your magazine through my company in New York, and we can use your handy little postal license to ship them. What he doesn't tell Abner is that the Peacock is no longer going to be a bird-watching magazine. It is going to be a girl-watching magazine. He's going to get rid of Abner by sending him on this quest to South America to photograph this incredibly rare bird.
The picture that will rock the bird world.
Rock the bird world, rock the bird world. Sharif don't like it.
Save it! Save it!
He's mad with bird fever.
Bird fever is no joking matter, Dylan.
No, I know.
You're going to New York!
New York at last.
I'll be able to take up heroin again. Abner goes to the jungle.
As publisher of an obscene and indecent
publisher? Who said he's the publisher?
Hey, I'm not the publisher. It's this Abner Peacock guy.
Go find him in the jungle.
So there's a worldwide manhunt.
Abner's been there for months. He's ragged and exhausted. He's gone full Herzog, Burden of Dreams. Agira, the Wrath of Knots. And he discovers that the bird calls he's been hearing was a rival ornithologist. They were just hearing each other's bird calls and running around in circles. He is arrested and extradited back to the U.S.
There's just been a mistake.
And he becomes a media sensation as Dirty Abner.
Smut puzzler.
Smut puzzler. In his small town, he's become a social pariah. No one wants to talk to him. All they want to do is spray him with hoses. And he decides to end it all.
I'm right in the middle of doing something.
Oh my God! 2 lawyers come knocking at his door. Civil liberties lawyers. They think he's got a case to defend himself with the First Amendment. Abner starts to gain traction in the press. The hippie protesters are on his side now.
Free speech lovers. Moms for obscenity.
There is a trial.
They're calling it the Scope Spank the Monkey case.
Entering the courtroom is the lovely and erudite Liza LaMonica. She's a magazine publisher.
The Honorable Judge Jeremiah Claypool.
All right, this is my courtroom. I don't want any clumsiness or dropped things or buggy-eyed faces. The prosecution calls Abner a filthy degenerate.
And that is to protect you, your children, from the smut and moral corruption.
And the big juicy boobies across every cover of every magazine. The defense calls Abner a filthy degenerate. But he has his rights, and so he should be freed. And that's exactly what the jury does.
Not guilty.
Mr. Tremaine knows that he's got a hit on his hands, but he doesn't have the moolah to get it off the ground, so he has to go to his connections with the mob.
Ice pick Charlie Twilight to try and get funds. Mr. Twilight is busy having elocution and grammar lessons from Miss Love.
Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smith.
I've seen this clip.
The smith, a mighty man is he.
With large and sinewy hands. Sinewy. I've seen this.
What was our new word for today?
A prerogative.
And what was yesterday's new word?
Fastidious. Oh, I love that word.
I fastidiously garroted the neck of Big Tony. He needs $500,000 to publish one magazine. Ice Pick Charlie agrees to finance the operation, but he's going to be the boss. They go to Liza LaMonaco and get her on board because of her magazine publishing expertise.
It'll have sex, but written by the most famous authors.
Hunter S. Thompson. Philip Roth.
I said I was not to be
Just dropped in to see what a publisher's office looks like. If I'm intruding, throw me out. It's your prerogative.
No, be free to look around.
Very fastidious.
Very fastidious.
He did the joke you did.
That's my wife, Pamela, and my son, Craig Jr.
That's the horse whose head we'll put in my bed later. That's the Gerber baby.
You shouldn't be seen with me now, not till I clear my name.
No, Abner, my place is by your side.
Well, how am I going to get all that freaky strange from those hippies who are hot in their pants for me? Thank God that's over. I'm going to leave all this behind me. And his lawyers say, what are you doing? You've got to publish that girly magazine.
You can't do this to the cause of constitutional liberty.
But all I want to do is go back and publish my bird magazine.
You have to become this crusader for free speech. He goes to the offices of the Peacock.
Gee, Miss Pickering, you look so,
You look like you should be in a John Waters movie. He meets Liza LaMonaco.
I just can't allow the name of Peacock to be associated with a magazine like...
Like what?
Just take out the P. It's perfect.
E-cock?
Ecock.
Birds are my line.
Birds are always nude. You ever heard of a bird with clothes? It's ridiculous.
See, I'm just an editor of a bird magazine.
This is the only line in the movie. I'm just the editor of a bird magazine.
This is going to be an important periodical in the sexual revolution.
So they need Abner to play the part.
Become this popular swinging figure so that people buy the magazine. Liza comes on to Abner. Is this a tactic to convince him? Is she actually feeling it? We don't know.
Gee, Miss LaMonaco was telling me about all the money you've invested.
Nothing. It's my prerogative.
You learned one word.
My, what a beautiful office you have.
It's very fastiest.
No.
You remember those little things that you turn upside down and it makes a cow sound? That's that guy's voice.
No.
They take him to his tricked out sex penthouse. There's erotic art everywhere. There's a quartet of French maids. There's a scoreboard. According to the scoreboard, I have won this round of sex. And there's the Pussycats, the lovely ladies that will make sure that all eyes are on Abner.
I'm just an ordinary guy
who publishes a bird magazine. Liza, overcome again, kisses Abner, crookedly, weirdly. Doesn't look like much fun, but she does it.
He is transformed.
Why is he dressed like an elderly woman? And he hits the town. Abner becomes the preeminent playboy of the big city.
We see it through a great montage of him with festive dress.
The first issue of the magazine is an international hit. Millions of copies sold. Rose Ellen sure is a glutton for neglect. There's a nightclub that just opened up that's called the Abner Club or the Peacock Club or something.
On with the show.
Mr. Peacock, no one else could be so groovy.
I have this single on vinyl.
You do?
No.
Carry rock and rest.
She looks familiar, doesn't she?
That's Darlene Love. That's her.
She's got a great voice.
Mr. Peacock, yeah, what's happening? Mr. Peacock,
Mr. Peacock. Be a peacock. You're doing your thing. The peacock. I love this song. Liza's looking at those pussycats and she hates them. She's jealous of them.
Who the hell knows what they've been doing up there every night?
I know. He's been teaching them bird calls.
Yes, he's now calling them the pussy birds.
Good evening, Mr. Peacock.
Mr. Peacock, Mr. Peacock.
Come ben.
She is mucho caliente por peacock.
What are you doing here?
Oh, since the girls moved out, got kind of lonely.
Just been humping the statues pretty much.
Oh, Abner, I want you so much.
I want to freak your lanky body real nasty like. Ice Pick Charlie barges into Liza's office and assaults her.
If there's anybody you want, it's gonna be me.
Mr. Twilight tries to strong-arm him.
I'm gonna count to 3.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Whoa!
He hit me.
Charlie.
And it felt like a kiss.
Ice Pick Charlie? You mean Mr. Twilight?
And he's gonna have you killed.
Killed?
But then I'll be dead! He goes back to the small town.
Oh, Abner, I knew you'd come back.
Oh, Abner, I have absolutely no dignity. I'm back for good, baby, and I just want to marry you.
Rosellen.
Don't do it, Rose Ellen. Those lips are crawling with herpes. Mr. Twilight isn't there to murder him. He's there to apologize to him, because that's what Miss LaMonaco told him to do.
But the senator has to stay with a magazine.
Reverend Wilkinson and Abner have a talk.
In the eyes of the world, you are, well, a rake whose amorous exploits with countless women.
And many, many leaf piles. are well known.
In order to marry his daughter, the Reverend insists
You have to give a press conference where you tell everyone that you are a virgin. Oh, he's just real nervous about that. Word gets back to the office that he's going to give this press conference, and that is going to sink the peacock. What if we deflower him tonight? Liza has a plan. She shows up, champagne in hand.
How about a drink?
I'm good and liquored up. Let's make some marks on the scoreboard. What do you have to do during sex to score 11 points? Like what is the what's the system? He drinks the drink. She has drugged him.
Get him undressed and into bed, huh?
And then get to work. She waits until dawn, strips down to her skivvies, and gets in bed and pretends that they had a wild night of passion together. Oh, too much Rohypnol. Think about it, Abner. There are no marks on the scoreboard. That's proof you didn't have sex.
proof.
And I know nothing could have happened here last night.
She's got to be a Stepford wife. That's the only explanation.
Dear, sweet, innocent Rose Allen.
Your programming doesn't allow you to think anything less of me.
He breaks it off with Rose Ellen. She deserves better than a guy like him. Abner comes in. He's the strutting dick of the office.
We're going to be married this afternoon. I've made all the arrangements. There's the address of the chapel and all the details.
He tells Mr. Twilight about it. Mistake.
He's got one move.
If you say I do, those will be the last words you'll say in this life.
At the wedding,
Peacock is all sorts of stressed out.
Mr. Twilight and his goons are there. Tessio, Clemenza, nice to see you.
He might die here, but he's got to do the right thing.
Before the ceremony can get underway, turns out Miss Love is an FBI agent. He's going away for a long, long time. Well, the wedding can go on after all, but he's not getting married to Liza. He's getting married to Rose Ellen. Liza made all the arrangements and told Rose Ellen the truth about what happened last night. Who would have expected such a happy ending for the love god?
So Don Knotts was a big deal. He was the G-rated guy, you know?
This was an attempt to venture into new territory. I didn't think it was that bad.
The movie?
As a screwball comedy.
No, it wasn't that bad.
The man-woman stuff is very dated and at times very unpleasant to watch.
Yes.
But that's to be expected. It comes off as really sort of a free love time capsule.
Shedding of the puritanical part of American culture and society. If anything, though, that you'd think maybe they would go even further.
Yeah.
Midnight Cowboy, the whole thing.
Well,
you know?
I mean, that might be a bit too far.
I don't know. Anyway, it was interesting. And I liked the costumes.
The actor who played Ice Pick Charlie was really good. The script and his performance did a good job of having him be this threatening character who's not menacing. Even when he's slamming someone's head into the wall, it's comical.
And Don Knotts, though, I mean, why was he so famous?
You got it.
Okay, I guess he knew his bit.
Jerry Lewis would make funny faces, but he was a whole different kind of animal.
What if we made Don Knotts into a sex symbol?
Well, the whole point of a lot of Don Knotts movies is that you're taking this innocent kind of dope and throwing him into this situation where he has to try to change, he has to try to rise to the occasion, but he just can't do it.
And he couldn't hear.
And then he ends up being right back where he started from and realizing that that's where he should be.
The Don Knotts circle.
Yeah. This movie, they pushed it further into adult themes, and I think that worked against the movie. I think this was kind of a flop.
They should have doubled down a little bit more on the First Amendment thing, or making him into the sex symbol, or him buying into the, or like one of the romances. They kind of just skimmed over everything.
He never addressed the fact of, this is not a bird-watching magazine. Why should I have loyalty to this publication that doesn't, it's not about bird-watching? There should have been more solid logic behind a lot of the decisions that many characters make. They just seem to do things just to do them. You can say, well, it's just a comedy, who cares? But if it's making you kind of scratch your head, then the movie's not doing its job.
And I feel very silly, but I realize halfway through, oh, that's the guy from
the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, Barney Fife. Should have stuck to law.
Bullet in the pocket.
In case he needs it.
Yeah, in case he needs to cap someone.
But same character. Exactly the same, right?
Not the same character. Barney Fife was a lot more arrogant. Don Knotts in the movies is not that. We need to have sympathy for him. We don't want to see him just as this arrogant clown. We want to see him as a dopey everyman who we can relate to and also we can laugh at and look down on.
The Love God? No. Movies? They make a lot of them. Some of them are good.
The Love God has returned to Valhalla. And now it is time for us to turn to a feature we call Seen It.
Seen It.
John Sabby. I'm pretty annoyed that The Brutalist used AI for some integral parts. Should you be nominated for an Oscar if an artificial intelligence program was needed to get your accent right? Seen It.
Seen It.
It's certainly a valid opinion. It's one that I'm not sure that I share. People use auto-tune and get nominated for Grammys.
But that's a tool. But is AI a tool?
AI is this big technological bugaboo right now, but I think any technology, if creative people use it to make cool things, then it's a good thing. If uncreative people use it to make garbage, then it's a bad thing. So it depends on the motivation of the user.
Not enough buildings.
It had some good things to say about Jewish identity in post-war America and the importance of a flourishing immigrant class. But I thought the movie as a whole was a bloated and incoherent mess. The filmmaker has an audacious and a singular vision, but the movie feels like an experiment. And the story feels very forgettable, and the message at the end of, like, he did it all for the family, feels very trite.
Declan Loathine, 5820. He says, would love to hear your thoughts on A Complete Unknown. I saw an early screening and especially enjoyed Edward Norton's performance.
Yes, I've seen it.
I have not seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
I liked it a lot better than James Mangold's Johnny Cash movie, Walk the Line. The performances, particularly Edward Norton as Pete Seeger, I hope he wins the Oscar because he's excellent. And Chalamet really blew me away. He's someone I really run hot and cold on. I see him in this and I'm like, oh my God, he is Bob Dylan. And then I see him in Dune and I'm like,
Well, my dad said he left the theater with a really nice, warm feeling. Is that how you felt?
I don't know that I would say that. I didn't know, to my own embarrassment, that Maggie's Farm was an indictment of the folk scene.
Oh, yeah.
His uncomfortableness in being not only seen as a mouthpiece for it, but even being a member of it in the first place.
I don't think people realize about Bob Dylan. He went from, like, nobody to extremely famous very quickly.
And to feel the weight of the expectations of the world in such a profound way, that's got to make you want to say, to hell with everybody, I'm going to do what I want. Bill Mikesell. Some old people I know were like, Bill, I can't believe you've not seen To Kill a Mockingbird. And I was like, I know, right? And then we went over to their house and had steak and watched it. Seen it.
Good story.
It's not bad. I saw this movie in a high school literature class.
So did I.
That would never, ever happen today. That teacher would be fired.
I was in the play in high school, To Kill a Mockingbird. Guess what part I played?
I wonder if you were cast in the same role that I was cast in.
Were you Mr. Gilmore?
No, I was not. I was Heck Tate.
Oh, that's a pretty good... But you were a racist.
No, he wasn't a racist. He was a
it?
good guy. It's a really good movie about racial tolerance and justice, but it's also just a movie about unstructured child's play.
Yeah.
Going out into the neighborhood and running around and exploring. Seeing that really brought my childhood back to me.
That you were allowed to wander?
Oh, yeah. We lived in downtown Milwaukee. It was dangerous.
And the boogeyman turns out to be a hero.
When I was growing up, there was a real-life Boo Radley that lived on my block. It was this guy who we rarely saw, and there were all kinds of rumors about him. His name was Boris. Old crazy Boris. He lived with his nutty sister in this house where the shades were always drawn. We didn't know anything about what went on there, and people told crazy stories about these two. And we would see Boris. He would come walking down the street. He'd have his Canadian tuxedo on. He had big frizzy hair. He had hair like Sideshow Bob.
Wow.
And he'd come walking down the street, and everyone would go, Boris. It's Boris. He's coming.
I'm surprised that your takeaway from To Kill a Mockingbird was, this is my childhood.
Pretty much.
Ryan Holland. Beetlejuice. I wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid. Can't imagine why.
Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Seen it.
I believe you. I love this movie. One of my favorite. From start to finish, it moves, it clips along. The Beetlejuice character is a little bit of an enigma. Is he good? Is he bad? The whole when they go down to hell, like, it's so cool.
Yeah, the afterworld and the living world are both just as weird as each other.
It's Michael Keaton, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have a better Beetlejuice line memorized.
Save that for later.
That was perfect.
You will love to go to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can see every episode we've ever made. There have been, 13 plus years of them. And there are PayPal donation buttons that you can click on to make a one-time or a rolling monthly donation to support this show. This show appreciates your support, particularly these two one-time donors. John from Norway, who says, love the show, keep at it. And Carlos, who says, thank you for the entertaining show, from Carlos the Dad and Nina the Kid.
Thank you, donors.
And thanks to my co-host Dylan, who will be returning next week for unboxing. We're going to have a good time then.
I'll be wearing the same clothes.
Me too.
You have the satisfaction of watching hard-boiled Liza LaMonica panting like some hot breath teenager. Is your male vanity appeased? Or are you cruel enough to make me say it again?
Say it slower in an Italian accent.
But the senator has to stay with a magazine.